Hello and welcome to this report that I think is pretty fun. So I had this idea of making a more of an app layout for a calories calculator using a Kaggle dataset that I got, which was about like Starbucks food menu and calories. So I built this very simple layout, which is just basically checking out the tables in my dataset, organizing the menu, recalculating all the calories and separating them so that I can have specific calculations and specific comparisons in the end. But what I ended up doing to make this more app-like, to make this more like user-friendly, is use the isfiltered DAX function, which I think is pretty interesting and we're going to be showcasing here. So how does that work? You can see that I have my reset filter button here, the category of beverage, the beverage prep, the beverage food, and then all the information depending on what I selected. So if I go with a smoothie, you can see that I just have grande non-fat milk as a category, as a prep, for some reason that I won't explain here because obviously the dataset wasn't perfectly clean. And then orange is gonna be 221 calories, right? But you can see that my food is still showcasing nothing. Although, if I check out the measure for food, it's just the basic sum of all the foods, okay? It's not checking out any filter, it's not doing anything, and yet I'm showcasing this little cat instead of any kind of value. And this is because what I did is just use the isFiltered function to add verifications in the report and make it clear that we're checking out for beverage calories or food calories or both. So how is this working? Let's click on the reset filter button here to get back to nothing, and then we're just gonna check out my proteins. So you can see that in this DAX measure, we are just gonna check out as a drinkies variable the sum of my proteins in the current beverage. Okay, so I'm just here having the whole proteins column of my calories table being summed up. And I don't mind, I'm not using any filter or anything because I want the user to filter. And what I'm gonna do is just not showcase anything unless he's selected something in the table beforehand. And in order to do this, I'm gonna use an if statement. So if the drink is filtered, showcase drinkies, otherwise showcase the cute cat. Okay, but what is this filtered drink measure? Let's get into it here. This filtered drink measure is just a simple statement which is isFiltered menu. Isfiltered menu is just a statement that is saying that my table menu is filtered or not. So what you're going to get from this is a boolean value that's true or false. Okay, so if it's true, then isFiltered is true and it's a value of 1 by default. And if it's not filtered, then it's false and it's a value of 0 by default. It's something that you might know if you're close to programming in any way. And so by doing this, I can here in my protein measure just check out if filtered is true, this, if it's false, that. Okay, easy as that. But what we ended up doing in the report is a little deeper than that, because you can see here that if I'm selecting just an almond croissant, you're gonna have the total menu calories, you're not gonna have anything in the food section, and you're gonna have the food calories down there. And that's because I use this filtered in a way in that report that's going to be checking out whether or not I have both filters on or just one of them or none of them. If no filters are active, we're going to have this select product to start statement here and the little cats everywhere else. But if anything's chosen anywhere, like a cafe latte that's going to be grande, then you're gonna have this. And if I want my food calories to be showcased, then I have to choose like a berry yogurt, for example, and have my whole thing here. Let's reset filters again. How is this working? Well, we're going to get a little deeper into this isfiltered function and the fact that booleans are also zeros and ones. So let's get into this. I'm going to zoom in and show to you my any filter measure. Any filter is my measure that's checking out if food menu and menu are filtered, and you see that I'm adding them up. And why is that? Well, let's try to do something real quick. Let's add a visual that's gonna be just this, and we're gonna add any filter to it, and you see that any filter is equal to 0. Now I'm gonna click on coffee and it's 1, and if I click on grain roll it's equal to 2, because remember, true is by default equal to 1. So what's going to happen with this isfiltered function? Well, let's zoom back in. Any filter is then returning true or false, but specifically you can check if it's returning 0, 1 or 2 with this way of doing things, okay? And so now what I can do is just basically in my total menu calories here check out for multiple scenarios. So how is this working? So you can see that I have my foodies variable, which is a sum of the detail of calories in my food. Okay, the total calories in my food. Drinkies is going to be the sum of the total calories in my drinks. And then I have a few statements. Just as a reminder, I put you the formula for the filter statement here, isfiltered plus food menu. But you have to remember that we're not using it here. Okay, it's now a measure under there. Food filter, isfiltered food menu, is what I have as a food filter as a measure. So that too is already in my report. Okay. And then what we're returning is basically this. If any filter is equal to 2, it means that both tables are filtered. Then we're going to add my food and drinks calories. Okay. But if it's not the case, okay, then we're going to check a second time for the filter on drinks. If the drinks are filtered, then we're going to showcase only the drinks variables. Easy as that. But if it's not the case, then we're going to add one layer, and let's show it like this maybe, and see that if the food is filtered, we're only showcasing the food sum here, and if nothing's selected, then we're going to ask the customer to select the products to start. So thanks to this property of booleans, we are able to have a multi-layered and specific measure that is going to be able to return everything in a custom way depending on what is selected by the user. So that was the fun part of this experiment, and that's what I wanted to share with you today. Everything else wasn't that interesting or not specific to this project. Aside from maybe something that I've learned, and I just want to show that to you real quick, is this reset filter button. It's actually a button navigator, bookmark navigator, and I didn't know about that, but it's actually pretty useful, because what you can do with this is add in there all the bookmarks that you've created or specific bookmarks that you've created for your report to make like page navigation, filter reset, or any kind of bookmark usage way easier. You can set up things in very easy ways, and I really like that. You can play with the visual like options to make it like a tile, or give it different like shapes, transparency, backgrounds. It's really interesting. So the shape could become like an arrow or anything. Like it's really you've got a lot of choices there, and it's gonna be very useful. So yeah, that's all for me today. I think this can be inspiring for some people. I'm having fun with this, and I'll see you around. Bye.